right, we're good to go. Okay, welcome to 3/5 News. If you were to take a census of this recording right now, we would barely count as 2 people. Today, I'm joined by 2 dudes who hopefully have not left the podcast after that introduction. The first, no offense, Kyle, is Wild Smile. You can find him at Wild Smiled on Twitter and Wild Smile on YouTube. Anytime something stupid or alarming is going on, you can expect to find coverage of it on his Twitter channel or on his YouTube channel or his Twitter account. He blends together lighthearted humor with coverage of heavy and sometimes dark material. Basically like a Vincent Gallo movie, but without a young, hot, super pale Christina Ricci, like just turned 18, so supple. Wow. Anyway, our next guest is Kyle Broussard, aka Virtuous Skinhead. You can find him on Twitter at Virtuous Skinhead. Now that's head without the A, damn Twitter character limits, and Kyle Broussard on YouTube. He's one of the few dudes out there who practices what he preaches, and boy, is it one hell of a message that he preaches. And it's make peace cool again. I'm sure you've been watching the political violence that has been festering in the U.S. for some time, and he's one of the guys that is jumping in the middle of the fray to break things up and take people that have had enough out of harm's way. Seriously, Mr. Broussard could very well lead a movement that brings us as Americans together and a step or two away from the precipice that is outright bedlam in the streets. He is launching a website soon. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Kyle?
Yeah, so I'm in collaboration with a few people, and it's going to be the Legions of Peace, and it's basically the ones who are going to be doing exactly what I do, where you're not afraid to get in the way, you're not afraid to go into the midst of the violence, you're not afraid to get your hands dirty to make sure that it is not acceptable to use skateboards as weapons. It's not excusable to use violence as a means to resolve political disputes. It's unacceptable the way that the American people have devolved into this nonsensical just unfriendliness. I'm actually going to quote General Mattis on this one, the current Secretary of Defense. Is the #1 risk to the American civilization is political unfriendliness. And I agree with him wholeheartedly. Actually, I voted for him in the election. And that's what the Legions of Peace is all about, is not being afraid to get your hands dirty and trying to break up this nonsense. I'm not going to use the word by any means necessary, but at this point, someone has to come in here and make peace popular again and make politics civil again.
I agree 100%. That's a wholesome message that I think most people can get behind. And those that can't, something is wrong with you. Now, our first stop on this route toward the black hole that I will inevitably drag us all into, past the singularity, is high-profile cases of I fucked up. This is a segment in which we cover the latest ill-advised statement or action from a celebrity or talking head. All right, so let's begin with something that occupies a small gray area between sad and funny, which is Amy Schumer. She's at it again with her sexism shtick, and at this point, that's really all she has, demanding that Netflix match offers given to Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock. This comes via vulture.com by Jackson McHenry. Yes, a man with 2 last names that covers everything pop culture. So basically what has happened is that she was offered $11 million for her leather special, which was just terrible. And Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle earned $20 million for their specials on Netflix. Now, how the hell is this an equal pay issue?
Well, it's not. It's definitely not. So one, I'm not even going to bring up the fact that every Harvard economist and every pretty much credible economist throughout the entire world has discredited the wage gap. But this is not about equality. This is about using social justice as a means to get a higher pay. And this is what social justice in the end actually tries to create, is just simply an advantage for the virtue signaler on that side. So it's understandable that Chris Rock and others who are going to get a really high-paying gig because they're very, very well known. Hell, Chris Rock has been doing this for decades now. Amy Schumer, especially her latest at the leather special, that was miserable to watch. I don't know about anybody else, but I turned it off about 10 minutes in. I actually had to watch a recap of it on Louder with Crowder.
You and me both, man. You and me both. It sucked.
It was just that bad. I just couldn't stomach all of it. But for her to demand the exact same pay as Chris Rock and others in the same popularity scale that will get a lot of watches, a lot of views, a lot of people coming into Netflix just to watch this, and demand the exact same treatment, this is actually what will lead the social justice warriors and anybody who's participating and arguing against the wage gap way down the hole.
I think what's brilliant in all of this is I guess this is another notch in the belt of people that scream white feminism is bad, because it's like these are two black dudes who earned their way, and now she's like, yeah, I deserve that same pay when she hasn't really paid her dues.
No. And isn't it hilariously ironic too that like the whole idea behind feminists like nagging and begging to be paid the same amount is because they're operating under the assumption that women are not paid the same for the equal amount of work. Clearly, this is not an equal amount of work. Her contributions, quote unquote, I'm using really big air quotes there, to the comedy sphere pale in comparison to what people like Chris Rock have added. So why? And if people truly despised this latest contribution, again, huge air quotes, why is she expecting, why, like the big hypocrite she is, why is she expecting equal pay for something that was not nearly as popular? Just like, I think that sends up the biggest red flag about the feminist movement. And I even think back to something, it was either Steve Shives or the Bronx blogger, or, one of these crazy regressives who said that, that free speech is not about giving everyone a voice, but it's about making sure everyone has an equal voice.
That's
who gets to
scary.
decide?
No, isn't it scary?
Wait,
isn't it scary?
What were you saying, Wild?
Who gets to decide what who has an over, say a too loud of a voice, and who gets to decide who has too low volume of a voice?
Those with sensitive ears.
It's the same. It's the same question with hate speech. Who gets to decide what hate speech is? Oh, of course, whoever's making an accusation. So it makes the entire thing impossible to even begin to try to enforce.
At least not in any sort of rational or fair sense.
Exactly.
Well, this has been going on college campuses as well, where people will want to participate in class, and they will give the participation points, because a lot of classes now have a huge chunk of their overall grade is participation. Mm-hmm. And they will give the exact same amount of participation points to someone who never spoke in class if they claim to be shy. And
really,
that's awesome.
Oh yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I talk all the time in class, but they'll try to get people out of their shell, which is fantastic. I like that idea. But if someone you could tell is just sitting in the back, isn't really paying attention in class, does really poor on assignments, and yet they still get the same amount of participation points, primarily due to the fact they just argued that they're shy. It's that whole thriving for equality, no matter what the cost. It's a form of, I think the phrase is almost becoming too overused. It's that cultural Marxism.
Mm-hmm. Well, not at all. I know what you're alluding to, the whole equality of outcome. No, it is what cultural Marxism is. I mean, you look at no matter what the far left, regressive left group, whether it's the black issues, the women's issues, the gay issues, the trans issues, whatever, all of them are about equal outcome. These are all people who believe that everything is a social construct, and that as such, no one is inherently stronger or weaker than anyone else, and therefore any discrepancy of outcome always has to come back to oppression. So no, I do not think that the expression cultural Marxism is in any way overused. I think it's an expression that's not only underutilized, but one that's never elaborated upon. I mean, all things social justice are Marxist in origin.
Absolutely.
I think, first of all, you guys need to get off your high horses. If you look at Wikipedia, it describes cultural Marxism as a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, no shit, does it really?
Yes, it does. It literally has an entire section called the Cultural Marxism Conspiracy Theory. And
ridiculous.
And it's awesome. No, it's hilarious. Like, it's funny. I ended up learning about this like a couple months ago. Apparently, there was a big old spat on Twitter, between a lot of the big name editors. There was like a group of SJW ones who wanted to label it as a conspiracy theory, and eventually the admins capitulated to it becoming okay to label it as a conspiracy theory. Never mind the fact that Adorno and Marcuse and all these people's works ended up at universities in the 50s, leading to 60s, 70s hippies that we know today. Yeah. I mean, the expression political correctness is right out of their playbook.
Yeah, it's very clear their motives, it's part of history. Their articles are on Wikipedia. Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now. It says cultural Marxism in modern political parlance refers to the conspiracy theory which sees the Frankfurt School as part of an ongoing movement to take over and destroy Western society.
And here's the thing: to give exactly. but like to give them credit because there was a point in which I became fascinated with the phrase cultural Marxism, because I mentioned this to Isaac before, and I mentioned it in my interview with him. I'd begun to hear the expression cultural Marxism like a lot near the end of the election cycle. And Dr. Jordan Peterson, when we interviewed him at UTEP, used that expression a lot. And I think what they're alluding to is there's a YouTube documentary. It's like our culture, cultural Marxism, why our culture is in decline or something like that. It's a good documentary, even if we're like corny, I'd say watch it. I can kind of see what they mean. The documentary does seem somewhat conspiratorial. But the facts are the facts. The Frankfurt School existed. The Frankfurt School scholars infiltrated, whether they intended to or not, academia in the 50s. And now we can't get rid of their idealism. Their ideals.
They said they intended to. So
yeah,
it wasn't an intention of theirs.
We've got to move on. But you see what you do, Amy? You see what you do?
You derailed the entire conversation.
Well, there's no way a train can withstand Amy Schumer being on the tracks.
Holy shit.
That's hard.
Okay, so on to Just News. Before we incinerate ourselves, every show we will cover the latest in political news and sometimes shit that we can barely believe. Because the world is a strange place and sometimes you need to take your pants off and swim around in it. We begin with the man that could inexplicably disappear for a decade after his term and remain relevant all the while, President Donald Trump. There is speculation that the president's aides are planning to break one of his campaign promises. This story comes to us via McClatchydC.com by Anita Kumar. Now, the opening paragraph reads, Donald Trump's top aides are pushing him to protect young people brought into this country illegally as children, and then use the issue as a bargaining chip for a larger immigration deal, despite the president's campaign vow to deport so-called dreamers. Now, Kumar states that the information presented come from half a dozen unnamed sources involved in the negotiations or familiar with the negotiations, and that there's two factions at play. The first, whom I will refer to as the pro-deal, consists of Reince Priebus, John Kelly, Ivanka Trump, her husband, Jared Kushner, and VP Mike Pence, HR McMaster, and Gary Cohn. The second, which is noted by Kumar to be the smaller of the two, the antis, consists of Attorney General Jeff Sessions, Trump's senior policy advisor Stephen Miller, and White House Deputy of Staff Rick Dearborn. The two factions close to the president offering conflicting advice has naturally led to hesitation. However, time is running out, and a decision must be made by September 5th. The specific date is one that a coalition of 10 states led by the great state of Texas has given the U.S. government an ultimatum to either abolish the program or be sued. There are 20 states led by, of course, a Californian, the Attorney General himself, Javier Becerra. Oh, excuse me. That are urging the president they openly detest to cater to them instead and refuse to do this. I think he's going to compromise. What do you guys think?
Oh, well, I think he's in a position to have to start bargaining with Democrats. However, he also he knows that the Democrats will not work with him no matter what. So the question is he going to try to compromise on his promises during the campaign with attempting to try to work with them a little bit, even though I don't think they will at all?
I would agree. The thing is that no matter what, the Democrats are going to stonewall every single thing they can against President Trump. Mm-hmm. I'm not a huge fan of Donald Trump. I didn't vote for him, obviously. But the thing is that this comes down to two essential questions: is whether or not we're going to have an open border system or a welfare system here in the United States. If we're going to have a welfare state, I'm more on the lines that we should have an open border system comparatively to a welfare state, but that's just me. If we're going to have one of the two, but overall, the Dreamers Act is not necessarily a bad thing. And I understand that it goes against a lot of his promises, but a lot of these kids who came here who are really, really young, they don't really know the difference between their country and any other country, and they're not really involved in the politics. So you can't really blame them or punish them, but that doesn't inherently give them a right to stay. So if this is something that he moves on, I'm really not too angry about, simply because, okay, if they're kids, we don't really care. Just give them a right to citizenship, get them to start paying their fair share, and get them involved into the country, give them a leg up. I don't really care about that. It's just the understanding that people who are coming here illegally and undocumented, who are able to suck up money out of the welfare system, and according to the Center of Immigration Studies, 63% of all illegal or undocumented aliens here in the United States use some form of food assistance. In which case, if they're just going to come here and suck up welfare, and a lot of them do not pay taxes, even though some sanctuary cities give you the ability to pay taxes if you're already illegal. If I didn't have to pay taxes, I wouldn't, but some do. But the amount that do are completely insignificant comparatively to the people who are actually here not paying taxes.
Yeah, like totally blown out of the water. Like, one thing a lot of people don't realize, and I'm surprised more people don't talk about this. I guess it's kind of a well-known secret on border cities. Have either of you two heard of manifiestos?
I have not.
I have not. No.
Okay, so for Kyle, who hasn't, Wild, you said you had. So
No,
what
I
manifesto? You have not. Okay. So what manifestos are they're places you can go, like you're a Mexican national, you're here in the States, whether you're here legally or not, whether you have a green card or you cross the border to do something here, it doesn't matter. What manifestos are organizations where you go to them with all of your sales receipts, they show how much you've paid in sales tax, and they give you back your sales tax.
I must add that there is a side note in this article about the numerous controversies that are surrounding our president, namely the Russian connection, quote unquote. Dear God.
I haven't heard about that. It's almost like it got completely debunked, and then they found something else to talk about and just dropped it. If I didn't know better.
If only.
Yeah, well, what I find the most fascinating, just going on a bit of a tangent here, about the Russian connection is that now they're trying to say that they're aiding neo-Nazis. It's like, do you realize they kind of have a rough past with the Nazis?
The Russians...
Just a bit of one. Like,
the Russians don't like the Nazis?
Yeah.
Well, that one I will discount, not just the whole Russia and Nazi thing, because honestly, if I were Russia and if I wanted to subvert the United States, I would go to any and all enemies that could subvert Western civilization as possible, including and not limited to neo-Nazis. So that could definitely be an argument. On the other hand, the likelihood of that is very, very small, including, I think, we have according to the Southern Poverty Law Center, there's only like 5,000 KKK neo-Nazis in the United States.
So it's like a third of them are like FBI agents.
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, who would really care? It's like they're not in any form of political power. They don't hold any offices. They don't hold any political power, including, let alone the majority. So it's not like they're getting any implementation of their policies passed or ideology passed. So the conspiracy theory on this one, it would just be not really practical for them to invest money in the neo-Nazi movement.
Let's get this one guy in this tiny town mayorship, and from there we take over.
It's like the guys who wrote the Bible. It's like, hey, let's get the people who are completely, absolutely illiterate and unable to write anything, get them to write a holy book. It's like, let's get these guys who are like completely useless politically and let's have them spearhead the movement of the destruction of Western civilization. No, that's not how that's going to work. Sorry, Putin.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, poor guy. Does anybody have anything to add about the potential suing of the federal government?
I don't think it's going to go anywhere, personally. We'll see.
No.
But only time will tell. And as far as the whole Russian thing, I found it very convenient that I got dropped as soon as the Charlottesville attack happened, which was, I believe, a day, maybe two after, and this hit mainstream. And by the way, I actually talked about this a month before it went on Tucker Carlson Tonight, so just wanted to fan my ego a little bit. The data transfer rate in the metadata from the DNC leak suggests, or it doesn't even suggest, or it directly makes it impossible to have been wirelessly transferred, as the data transfer was more consistent with a local USB transfer. So that means that it was an inside job, not Russia hacking into the DNC. So as far as Russia hacking our election, that is a complete falsehood. Whether or not they had influence, sure, maybe they did. The CIA is active in dozens of countries worldwide and typically completely controls the outcome, or at least attempts to. So the very fact that the media has been trying to build this narrative that America has been completely innocent over the last 100 years in regards to interfering with elections, like that bit with what's his name, Keith Olbermann. Man, that little man.
Oh my gosh,
you know what clip I'm talking about?
Could go burn in hell. Like
fuck
that little...
him, seriously. Pardon the French, but I really dislike a man who's the president got elected, and then the whole thing is we're at war with Russia. Well, actually, we lost a war with Russia without a battle. We are no longer a sovereign nation. We are no longer free people. We are no longer. He was radicalizing people, and that's
Russian
what people
scum.
Russian scum.
Dude, the sad thing is, like, I really like Keith Olbermann. Hang on, and
really?
Hear me out. I really like him until he did that. Until he was on GQ, like. I really liked him as a commentator. I really liked him going after Bill O'Reilly when he was on MSNBC. I even liked him as a sportscaster. I think I'm just in love with the guy's voice.
He's got a great voice.
Seriously, he was the reason that I actually went to what's that one horse thing on Netflix?
BoJack Horseman.
Horse?
Yeah, there we go. BoJack Horseman. He's the reason that I actually ended up watching that show. I really like his voice, but once he was on that GQ thing, just doing his rant about we have lost, we are useless, we're done. It's like, oh, okay, you went over. It's like, did your wife just divorce you? Did you find her in bed with someone? Dude, calm down.
He went to work on
maybe Joss Whedon was.
To be fair, to be fair, the left seems not only extremely guilty of cuckery, but actually defending it. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. It's like he came home, like, found out that his wife was screwing a Republican. He just, like, flipped out.
And he was Russian. That was the problem. He was also Russian. So he's like, I got him.
The dreaded double R, the Russian Republican.
Oh, boy.
Very
Russian
rare.
Republican. He's probably a Nazi too, by the way.
To pull this back to the subject matter, like, me personally, as somebody who lives on the border, like, I've come to just accept the fact that, Trump, kind of like Reagan, is going to have to be forced to compromise on a few things. But the border thing, I really hope he doesn't, because, like, even Reagan capitulated to the whole illegal immigrants thing. He gave amnesty to, like, 6 million of them at one point, something like that, to appease the Democrats. And I'm actually, albeit slowly, reading through a book. It's by two Native American authors, Vox Day and John Red Eagle, Cuckservative, How Quote-Unquote Conservatives Betrayed America. The foreword's written by Mike Cernovich. It's a really good book so far. It talks about the history of the Republican Party and highlights the 70s, where the neoconservatives formed their own little faction against who they derogatorily called the paleoconservatives. And I'm beginning to see a pattern in the GOP, and I hate to say it, especially among the last couple presidents of the UTEP college Republicans. It seems that the Republican Party establishment at large has Stockholm syndrome with the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party has abused us for so long, called us all racists, never mind the fact that the Republican Party has all sorts of skin colors behind it and walks of life. But it seems as if the establishment Republican Party has just cucked. The GOP wants so badly to seem, to appease the good boy police of the Democrat Party that they will do anything to not be called racist. Never mind the fact that Democrats will call them racist anyway.
Which is ironic because the DNC was completely made up of, like, neo-Nazis and KKK members in the 1920s.
Yeah, but let's
but they were good neo-Nazis and KKK members.
He makes a good point.
I was going to say that the problem is that the Democrat Party uses the lie of the big switch, which never happened.
Yeah.
Well, guys, you have to remember that that's actually why there was a rise of the alt-right. I mean, the alt-right was supposed to be kind of the actual conservatives who were sick and tired of the neocons who were in the Congress.
Oh, exactly. And it's funny. Like people may call me self-hating or whatever, but I have a lot of sympathies with the alt-right, even if I didn't agree with the extent to which they wanted isolationism or whatever. Like I honestly, like, this may be controversial, I actually kind of sort of believe in white genocide. And the alt-right has a lot of genuine concerns, but they've let themselves become so consumed with white nationalism that I just can't respect them anymore.
They're a very good representation of a white version of Black Lives Matter. I mean, hell, weren't they chanting, "You will not replace us"? It's the same victimhood mentality. I hate to say it just directly like that, because there are a lot of decent people on the alt-right that aren't white nationalists, and the reason I say that is because initially the whole alt-right, I believe you mentioned this a second ago, was initially, hey, a new alternative right-wing movement. I can get behind that. And then a month later, you're like, oh, wait a minute.
Fuck.
There's a guy with a Nazi flag right there. What the hell?
Yeah, it's all become nothing but my white race, my Jewish question, insert triple parentheses, because the Jews are apparently like the most evil people on the earth, never mind the fact that they're not.
But hey, and the interesting thing is, even with Black Lives Matter and a lot with them, there is a level of truth to the things that they're speaking about. There is a lot of like racism against whites in the mainstream. Like you can turn on, if you go on Twitter at any given time, there is somebody asking God, please kill all the white people, like constantly. And Twitter doesn't do anything about that. But if the shoe's on the other foot, they do. And it doesn't mean that that there is a concerted effort to root out the white race, supposedly, but hey, they have a little bit of data to back up their claims, much like with Black Lives Matter. They do have data to back up their claims, but they tend to falsely represent the facts in order to fit their narrative. In my opinion.
Well, it more focuses on like the whole what they were screaming about, like you will not replace us and Jews will not replace us and so forth. It's like they make up what 2% of the entire world population. Guys, calm down. But like when they're talking about the Great Replacement, where like everybody is, quote unquote interbreeding with other races, like who cares? Like go screw whoever you want. Go have kids with whoever you want. If you guys are focusing on the idea that skin tone shouldn't matter, like the Great Replacement, honestly, it would technically be better, including the fact that one, we're more prone to skin cancer due to the lack of melanin. So if you're going to talk about the superior races, I mean, we can't stay out in the sun that long.
Yeah, everybody has their thing.
And it's funny, like I feel weird coming to Richard Spencer's defense, but from what I could tell based on his interview with Roaming Millennial, Richard Spencer is not against race mixing because, frankly, let's not kid ourselves. Race mixing is not at a level large enough that it would even fit the alt-right's greatest paranoias. And even Richard Spencer admits, hey, people call him a white supremacist, and he's like, okay, yeah, but what are white supreme at? I mean, go look at like athletics and sports. They're all from like Africa. They all.
Wait, hold on, with a caveat, okay? Unless you're in the mountains, then black people are screwed. They have sickle cell anemia.
White people got curling down to a T, man. Like we are damn.
Tell me that's not talent.
We are damn good with those brooms.
So moving on to the next segment, the next step in this evolution of debauchery, I guess. Village idiot Van This Was a White Lash Jones has encouraged athletes to become even more politically vocal, as if NFL ratings weren't hurting enough, as if it wasn't getting stupid enough, where an Asian fucking announcer, Robert Lee, couldn't announce a certain game because Robert E. Lee shares the same name. And furthermore, the average dude doesn't want to sit down and watch the game after work to escape his life for just a couple hours. He does provide a nice qualifier that athletes on both sides should express themselves. But, I don't turn on the Broncos game to listen to what these dudes think about the current state of affairs. I want to watch the goddamn game and hopefully win the nice honeypot in some dickhead's fantasy league. He appeared on the Rich Eisen's show Monday and dribbled on about how time and money and visibility are something that nobody has enough of. And before I really get into this or let you guys have at it, I'd just like to point out he's wearing a nice tie and jacket, but has jeans on like an asshole. I'm certain that someone will send me pictures of conservatives doing the same thing. I just really don't like Van Jones. He creates this social imperative for people with public visibility and states that the greats are remembered for what they did off the field. No, they're not, dude. Can no one enjoy anything anymore? Like, must everybody be a political activist? I don't understand what good can come out of this.
Well, first thing I wanted to mention is Van Jones is, I believe, an admitted communist. He was working in the Obama administration, and there was a scandal. I'm recalling this from memory, but feel free to look this up. He worked in the Obama administration, and there was a scandal that was broke by Glenn Beck, but I can't remember exactly what happened. So this is a person who's not exactly an ethical man, to say the least. Even though he doesn't seem that bad of a guy, he seems like a down-to-earth person. Like the behind-the-scenes stuff I've seen with him, like people randomly come up to him, and he seems really nice. But I can't help but always remember that piece from right after Trump was elected, or maybe it was right before, where he goes and talks to a family, and he's like, "Oh my God, you guys voted for Trump and you're not racist? Oh my God, really?" It was amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I see it. He was talking about Green Job Czar or something.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't know about you guys. I would say that this is a big old nothing burger.
Pretty much. It's one thing to kind of... I can see a little bit of frustration here, because I like to be able to keep my art and my artists separate. And what he's encouraging is like, oh, no, we need more people like Colin Kaepernick. No, we don't. We don't need any more people who are controversial for any reason, unless that controversy is bringing more people into the stadium, is bringing more ratings onto the TV screen. A person like Colin Kaepernick is not worth the trouble. He's not very good, and he causes people to not show up. And if he was really, really good, he'd be worth it. If he was like Kenny Powers, like, I can't stand this fucking guy, man, but he's the best damn pitcher we got. Then it'd be different. But because he's mediocre, fuck him.
But the reason that I'm saying that it's a big nothing burger is not because of it's about Colin Kaepernick. You can remember that the conservatives were the one railing about Tim Tebow, getting criticized for praying on the field. That would have been that wouldn't have been that big a deal had he been like actually good. But instead, like, when you make this grandstand and you're just kind of meh as a player, you're just kind of a crappy player, but you're there. That's what's going to get you kicked out.
I would like to point out that so there was that Phoenix rally yesterday, and that guy got shot in the nuts with a pepper ball, which was hilarious.
Bitch.
Yeah, after he kicked back a tear gas canister at the cops. The guy that picked him up was wearing none other than Colin Kaepernick's jersey. And I'd just like to point out that just like the real Colin Kaepernick, he missed the snap, and it hit his dude in the balls. So he even sucks when someone's trying to emulate him. So our last story in Just News today comes to us via the Washington Post by none other than Julian Assange. He's gotten into a bit of a tiff with CIA Director Mike Pompeo. So Pompeo is basically saying that people like WikiLeaks, and maybe even he's alluding to Kim.com, are traitors or something that are stateless, and they don't really care. They just as much mud as possible and try to just get as much shit started as they can. Now, what do you think? Like, controversy just follows this guy wherever he goes.
Well, that's because that's what he specializes in. That's essentially his market, is controversy and stirring stuff up. He's essentially a Matt Drudge 2.0 with a leaky twist, so to speak.
Yeah, like a gas station tampon. or for the men out there, the 25-cent condom at a truck stop. Not that I've used one, but I do have AIDS now.
The ones that are flavored like banana and cherry.
There you go. You know what I'm talking about.
and here I thought they would just protect me from that glory hole in the bathroom. Oh, how wrong I was.
But yeah, I just So Julian Assange is a strange character to me because I just don't know where to stand with this guy, because he was very adamant about getting Chelsea Manning free or something, and I thought Chelsea Manning was just a straight up traitor. I'm just not sure if I'm missing a piece there, or why he would vouch for this guy. But
I would disagree with you on Bradley Manning. I will call it Bradley. I really I traditionally use what is biology and not the preferred pronoun.
Thank you.
I'll call it Chelsea. If has he changed his legal name?
I have no idea.
If it's a changed legal name, I'll gladly call it Chelsea because you're legally allowed to do that. On the other hand, if I want to call him Chelsea, that's a different issue.
Yeah.
But the thing is with Chelsea Manning, he did good. And the thing is that when you look at what he released a video of the United States Armed Services bombing a wedding with a huge amount of collateral damage in order to get a terrorist, okay, and an insurgent, which yes, I will say that needed to die. On the other hand, the risks that we in the military actually have to take into consideration, is this worth the collateral damage? Do you wipe out an entire wedding to take down one or two guys? And the answer for that should have been no. We could have definitely got him at a different time, and that was an unnecessary form of collateral damage. So do I think that Chelsea Manning did a good job? Yes. But I measure Chelsea Manning the same way I do Martin Shkreli, like with him raising the prices of a drug like 5,000% within X amount of time, within like overnight.
It's complicated.
I don't like Martin Shkreli. I think he's an asshole. But what he did was technically appropriate for the situation, regardless of the personal feelings I have of him personally. They did good, and he shouldn't have gone to prison for that.
No. And to my knowledge, or at least what I took out of everything I was reading regarding the Martin Shkreli thing, was that he was charging more for it, but the people weren't taking the cost. The cost was going directly to the insurance company. And it seems obvious who was coming after him once he pointed that out. And maybe it's just me jumping to conclusions. I do that from time to time. But it seemed to me that they got people all over social media. I remember the first time I heard about it, it was top on Reddit with like 20,000 upvotes, and everyone's just, this guy's such a piece of shit. He's just forcing people with AIDS to die. And they didn't tell you the full story. And then when you get the full story from him, you're like, oh, this makes sense now. You actually just decided to up the costs so the insurance companies would be paying you guys out money, and it wouldn't be coming from the consumer themselves. And essentially, you can't expect to, hey, let's start making hundreds of thousands of dollars off the insurance company and expect nothing to happen out of it. And they came after.
But that's actually not even the full story. Wild.
It isn't.
No, that's not even the full story. What they actually did, they had bought the rights to that medication for, I believe it was toxoplasmosis. I believe was the disease that they were talking about. But he had actually bought it, and with the cost of that, it was already being sold well under profit margin, which traditional profit margins in the pharmaceutical industry is well above, like around 18 to 22%.
Holy cow.
He was actually selling it well below that, only to be into the actual acceptable profit margin. I think it was in like 8%. So he was selling it below what is standard profit margin, but he had to make it somewhat profitable. And what it was being sold at was just that's why it wasn't being. It was going to be discontinued had he not bought it.
Oh,
so
okay.
which would you rather prefer? Do you prefer it not be in existence at all, or would you prefer to pay for it? And his justification of this, we have to put it up into profit margin, but the thing is, the cost of that is actually not going to hit the consumer. It's actually going to hit the insurance and the government the most. So it's very unlikely that the consumer will get hit by that, especially if you're in genuine need. And if so, they offered to donate it for free.
Okay, so moral of the story is I need to look a lot more into Julian Assange and Chelsea Manning.
And Martin Shkreli.
And Martin Shkreli. Yeah, well, I've seen him lecture listen to him lecture a few times, and I gotta say, I like the abrasive attitude. Maybe that's just me being an asshole, but
no, I think that's what we synergize with, man. Maybe it's our generation, or maybe it's just the like-minded people, but I think people being a bit obnoxious is what gets you recognized. I mean, just look at Donald Trump. I mean, I kind of like the guy, but there's no way he would have gotten elected if he wasn't exactly who he is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he had to be brusque. Sorry, I'm drunk. Sorry. he had to be brusque and rough, and frankly, like I won't lie. Like my original choice was for the GOP primaries was Ted Cruz, but Trump was a close second because I felt that because I loved Trump's brashness, and you know what? In the end, Trump's brashness ruled the day, and I am glad for the fact that he is fisting the media up the ass.
No, he didn't. That is not why Donald Trump won. Donald Trump won only because Hillary Clinton was that bad. Had it been anybody else, Trump would have lost hands down.
Two things could be true at once.
Okay, touche.
That's a debate.
Because I'm willing to concede some ground. Yeah, that wasn't the only reason for sure. I mean, if you put him against Bernie Sanders, Bernie would have won, no doubt about it. And I don't like Bernie Sanders at all. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like sad to say, like I despise Bernie Sanders. I hate socialist faggots like him. But the fact of the matter is, like, Bernie was like really popular. Like I could point to a lot of coworkers and people I knew who were
Bernie's the nice guy.
Yeah. Bernie's going to give us $15 an hour minimum wage, a free college, a free healthcare.
I felt like betrayed because I didn't give him money, but I knew a lot of people who were broke that gave him money. Like more people than I care to, like, you know, people who live paycheck to paycheck, giving him like $50, $100. Like it's not much.
Oh my God.
They still give him money.
And you're going paycheck to paycheck. That's a lot.
And then it turns out that Bernie Sanders took special interest money anyway, contrary to his slogan. Like I remember being in Albuquerque, seeing all these Bernie bumper stickers. Like, you know, no, I saw some occasional signs that said like no special interest money. I'm like, liars.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So moving on to the next step in our journey toward impending doom is the Twitter Power Hour. Don't time it because you'll always be disappointed. We will cover everything from the dumbest tweet since an hour ago to hopefully something intriguing every now and again. Emphasis on the every now and again. The first snippet comes to us from a lovely young black woman at Red Pill Black. Now, I'm just going to play a few seconds of it, and then we'll delve into the subject matter.
And the KKK. Really? That's what you guys want me to be concerned with this week? Do I look like an idiot? My name is Candace Owens, and you are watching my vlog series.
Okay, so she is talking about the Black Lives Matter, how they don't really care about actual crime because, you know, the biggest danger to young black men is other young black men, just as the biggest danger to white people is other white people, because generally we tend to live closer to people that look like us. It's not really racist in any way. That's just kind of a fact. So what do you guys think about this? Because she delves into some hardcore stuff there. I mean, it's her series is called Myth of the Coon, but yeah, what do you guys think?
Well, it's the same thing that's going to happen with Ben Carson, Thomas Sowell, that black guy on YouTube, as well as anybody else who just so happens to be black and disagree with the liberal narrative. She's going to be derailed, she's going to be railroaded, and then she's going to be called an Uncle Tom. Well, Aunt Tom, I think it would be in her.
That's an Aunt Jemima. Thank you very much.
I think they call her Mammy.
Yeah, and Aunt Jemima then. So she's going to be called that, and she's going to be called one of those, you know, she's delusional of her own oppression. That's what's going to happen to her. Do I believe in her message? Do I agree with her? Yeah, but do I think that she's going to get any traction from this? No.
Or Kyle, I think you meant to say she's internalized her oppression.
There you go. She's internalized her oppression.
She secretly hates herself. She secretly views herself as you know, as inferior to the white man.
She wants to go back to the cotton fields and just what the hell is wrong with you people? God.
No, dude, like I will never get over freaking Kyle Kalinske and his and his impersonation of like log cabin black Republicans, you know, shucky duck and messy, I'm gonna do a jig for you, I can do a jig for you. And I'm just like, why in the hell does the left get such a pass on being so horrible to and it's funny, like if it was being horrible to like black conservatives, that'd be one thing, but the fact that they get to call them coons, like if you're a white guy calling a black guy coon, you're gonna get your ass shot.
Well, what just happened with the dismissal of Steve Bannon? Like, suddenly it's okay to start spouting off about Goy or Goy.
Thank you. I like when I first saw that, I was like, okay, this is something I would expect out of the alt-right, calling everyone.
No, I think this is actually a testament to how popular the alt-right has become. That they've become so invasive that they have other people using their newly popularized or repopularized racial slurs.
Oh my gosh, it's oh my gosh, like the whole JQ thing is stupid, but like, oh my gosh.
But this is what it is. It's just the left isn't any better than the right. Both sides are just equally terrible.
They are.
The only difference is one of it.
Sorry, I just realized I was interrupting you. My bad. Sorry, dude.
No, it's fine. It's just the same thing. It's fascism disguised with manners.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. It really
They're
is.
just as bad as one another, but they have different tactics in order to, try to attain power. I mean, hell, I think it was 2008. Joe Biden went in front of the black congressional caucus or something. I can't remember who exactly it was, but it was a bunch of black voters. And he said they want to put you all back in chains. Who the fuck? Like, someone ought to slap you for saying something like that. That is some serious, like, divide and conquer shit.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah. Onto a lighter.
Before we transfer over, by the way, Wild Smile. By the way, Wild Smile. That was a horrible microaggression by interrupting me.
It was. It was. You are definitely a part of the marginalized peoples of critical theory.
I can't grow hair. I'm disabled. How dare you microaggress with your ableism?
My follicle privilege.
Hold on. We need to like firmly establish though. Like me and Isaac are like brown people. So who has more oppression points, us or Kyle?
Well, I'm white, so I get 0 oppression points.
Yeah.
Amen.
At the end of the day,
thank you. Darkies for the win.
All right. So onto a lighter note. Because holy shit, am I depressed now?
Oh, what are you saying about let's go to a lighter note? Is that about you being darkies again?
Internalized racism right there.
This is the internalized oppression right there.
Holy shit. Oh, god damn. So, as you may know, Joss Whedon, director of such shit shows as X-Men, Why Haven't I Masturbated in This Movie Theater Yet, and other things no one gives a fuck about, was found out to be one of the most unfaithful feminist husbands of the year. He was hanging and banging for 15 years behind his now ex-wife's back, but had his feminist shield to protect him from suspicion. And if you want proof of this, look him up on hiding behind the girl that's facing up to the bull. He's literally hiding behind it and smiling at the camera. And Well, now the cat's out of the bag, or rather his dick's out of his pants. We find feminists debating on whether this makes him a fake feminist or not, and it's amazing. Breitbart's Alan Bakari gives us his hot take, and oh boy, I hope that Joss saw this. Probably not, but if he's blocked, probably. Alan Bakari, you can find him at Libertarian Blue. So Joss, and I quote, "So Joss Whedon used feminism to bang an endless succession of chicks and make some pretty non-feminist movies without anyone noticing." And then he follows that up with, "To be honest, my respect for the man has skyrocketed." So what do you guys think of Joss Whedon and his now crumbling social cred?
I think it gives him a little bit of masculinity, you know, the fact that he was the type of guy that pretended to be a feminist in order to cheat on his wife. That's totally shameful, scum on his part. But what a subtle alpha, right? He didn't give a fuck. And he just did whatever he wanted. He exploited these women for their using their ideology. There's a part of me that just goes, man, I never gave him that much credit. I never would have seen him being that assertive to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, to use the facade of being a beta male cock to get that much pussy.
It's pretty creative.
No, it's funny. Like I always knew guys were creative with getting a girl, but like
that's level 10 trolling right there.
Yes,
That's even crazier than trying to convince people you're gay so that more women would try to sleep with you, because there's that myth that if women think you're gay that they will try to like have a one-night stand with you.
I can for sure debunk this right now, because for the longest time girls thought I was gay and they were just like, I was kind of interested, but then I figured why even bother? And so no, that's not real. Okay, it's very sad.
I don't know about you, man. I've known my fair share of girls who like were like all over gay guys. Like, I don't know if they ever ended up sleeping with them or not, but like I've known my fair share of girls who were like all over gay guys.
I don't know. I just hope he tells her he's only into anal. Okay, so next we have James Damore at Fired for Truth, who is formerly of Gulag, and I quote, "Judging by people by who they've talked to has caused a lack of bipartisan discussion, increased segregation, and a lack of true understanding. What a fucking Nazi." Peter, you had someone?
Okay, so while I'm still not blocked by Steve Shives because my Twitter account is something nobody's gonna guess, there's his Twitter account's like cancer. I mean, mine is like a Star Trek-ism, which I would love to like reshare, but if he saw me, he'd like block me, which sucks because I'm a huge Star Trek fan. But anyway, so Steve Shives reshared one of ContraPoint's tweets, freaking trans trender, whatever that thing is. So Contra said, and I'll see if I can't do Contra's voice right. "Part of being a morally mature human is being willing to entertain criticism without throwing a fit and becoming a fascist." And Steve Shives says, "Should go without saying, but doesn't." And I'm like,
can I just say that your impression gave me a boner?
Dude,
we're sharing earphones. It's fine.
Okay.
So, moving on to
by the way, before you move on, like, the only reason I don't have Steve Shives on my Twitter, like following his Twitter, is because there are so many parodies of Steve Shives. I have literally no clue which one is real.
Really?
Seriously, I have no clue which one is real. Like, every single one is like, "I'm a bitch and I have dem shive pussy lips," and like, give me my Twitter trendies. Like, I have no clue which one is even real. So I've tried to follow him. I just can't find him.
Oh, do you hear that?
Allahu Akbar!
Oh, it stopped. Okay, so now there's this guy. He's at Gaming and Pandas. He goes by Low Ping.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, he was talking. He was making a whole shitload of puns about the guy who got hit in the nuts yesterday. Now here are some of the funnier ones that I pulled up. And I quote, "He went from Antifa to Antifa. He identifies as a soprano now. Looks like someone isn't going to be able to father a woke 8-year-old. Got him right where the gender fluid is made." And I feel bad for the guy, but
I don't feel bad at all. What do you think is going to happen when you kick a tear gas grenade back at the police? You think they're just going to go, "Oh, well, thank you for our present bag"? I'm like, no, that's not what's going to happen. They're going to shoot you in the dick with a rubber bullet.
If he ever like goes to online dating because his friends won't talk to him anymore, like, this is all they'll pull up on him. And then he spliced together the breaking news. Pepper balls were fired at this guy to just breaking balls. So yeah, I love all of this. And there was another one from Jeremy Corbyn's ally. What is her name? Naz Shah. She was telling white girls to shut up because it was, she liked and retweeted a tweet that said, shit, I don't have it here, but it was like, white girls need to shut up about the whole grooming rings because this is hurting diversity. Like, just plain and simple right there. You're getting in the way of my diversity.
Never mind the fact that women are getting raped.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you that the whole victimhood pyramid, who is at the top and the absolute most untouchable, it's always Islam.
Mm. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, don't get me wrong. I completely believe in the whole victim hierarchy nonsense, but it kind of goes back to that Colin Kaepernick story we were doing. It's the fact that no matter what it is, it's just only political anymore. Like, it doesn't even matter the circumstances that are going on. Like, people are getting raped, people are getting killed. It doesn't matter. As long as they can push their political agenda, that's the end goal.
Mm-hmm. It's sad but true.
I mean, it makes me really disgusted to see, and I've talked about this to a couple people. I don't know if I ever talked it with you, Isaac, but I've had like this weird cultural crisis as of recent, and it's because it would be one thing if it was just the United States or just Canada, just Germany, just Sweden, just France. But you can see almost every single country of Western civilization influence just being overswept with this liberal ideology that is so almost horrible towards every single person that could be harmed. It doesn't matter if you're white, straight, gay, black, doesn't matter. You are going to be, if you have the wrong political opinion, they destroy you. It's they want Islam to take over. They want the communists to take over. And it's because I was actually reading the book Paradoxical Alliance, and it's because Islam and the communists or the anarchists, they have to destroy Western civilization in order to usher in their utopia. And if they can use the other, they're going to, but they have this assumption that they're going to be the victors in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, that's how it always works out in their head.
No, it's sad but true, but I'd heard something like this too, where I heard rumors or speculation, whatever, that the SJWs are only using Islam to further their goals, and they'll ditch them when they've achieved their goals. But the thing is, if somehow SJWs got their way, they wouldn't. Yeah, you're completely right. They would not be the victors. It would be Islam who was. Because frankly, Islam has the strength, it has the weapons, has the manpower, has the barbarity to win. You know, it's funny, these SJWs just don't realize that they're bound to lose if they ever manage to somehow get their way. And that, you know, it's like the Soviets called them useful idiots.
Yeah. On that note, we move ever closer toward the event horizon with separate but equal news. It's just like our news. We just prefer it that they keep it away from us. The first story about foreigners and whatever it is they do and not as important as America land comes from the infamous RT. Just read out the title there. That is...
Alrighty. This is a very interesting story. So just stop and process this, audience. German politician switches words around in ministry names for 26,000 euros. Just to read like the first paragraph or so. The flag of the German state of... Okay, never mind. Wrong one. A German state has renamed its justice ministry to the Ministry of Justice at a cost of nearly 26,000 euros to be met by the taxpayer. As one of its first acts in office, Armin Laschet, I don't know, I'm not racist, the newly elected president of North Rhine-Westphalia, representing the Christian Democratic Union Party, has renamed all 12 government ministries under its jurisdiction, Die Zeit reported.
Yeah, so that's why they lost the war. I just gotta say. What are your thoughts? This isn't really that important to me because it's, you know, I don't know where this is.
No, that is not the reason they lost the war. Germany lost the war because they had the entire world against them. So, but I'm glad they lost the war. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
as a white guy, I'm really happy.
I say that about Mexico too. It's like, oh man, this soda tastes weird, and it's like, yeah, that's why they lost the war. And then, you know, people get really mad because
thanks, Obama. God. No, but this is actually what a lot of libertarians use as an example. Like, this is why government is unnecessary to this degree. Why are you spending $26,000 of taxpayer money to simply change the name when it doesn't serve any valuable purpose to the operations of the ministry itself?
It sounds better. So
and stop me from...
it just sounds more Orwellian.
No, yeah, exactly. Ministry of Love, ministry. But stop me if I'm wrong. This is my take on it. So Bernie Sanders, right? He's only ever proposed, I think, 3 bills in his entire tenure, 2 of which were like renaming banks. This is that level of nonsense, in my opinion. Like, using your executive power to rename something.
So now onto some other nonsense, which is like Dick Van Dyke level nonsense. Devon workers' crushed hand sewn in stomach. How does this happen? I've been staring at this for like 20 minutes, and I don't know how this is managed or This is why.
The only way I can imagine this happening is if this guy, like, I see this as like an assembly line or something, right? I imagine he's like lying. He must have fallen onto his back with his hand on his stomach and had it sewn in. But like, and why in the hell he was on an assembly line, I don't know. I still don't know how this is even possible.
My theory is that he had a meal right before, and it was so good he wanted to eat it again. And that's how his hand got caught in his stomach in the first place, and then the machine accidentally sewed it on. I don't hear a competing theory, so I guess I'm right.
I thought he was just digging around for his keys, one of the ones that he swallowed at his most recent magical magician's meeting.
Normally... See, I'm with Wild Smile on that one. Normally I hide my keys in my ass, and so that's where if my hand was found sewed to my asshole, like that's pretty much the exact same thing.
Yeah,
close enough, right?
Like, I wasn't experimenting, I promise. Like, look, the X-ray will show. Yeah, so that's what would foreigners do without us? As Italy bears the brunt of the migrant crisis, has it been left by the EU to fend for itself? I guess that's... I should have probably had a better segue, but, I mean, it's Italy, so, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Italy's entire segue is the Mediterranean, and you're seeing how effective that is.
Clearly.
Oh, no. Yeah, those are some deep wounds right there. Yeah, it seems like the EU bends over countries over the table, not even like the dining table, just the coffee table, and just rams it in them. And then when they don't need them anymore, they just kind of walk away and say, "You've got cab fare, right?" And like that's really the extent of their diplomacy.
That basically sums up what the EU's done to like a majority of its countries. It bends them over, rapes them up the ass, and leaves them high and dry. Go look at Greece.
They're pretty much a less prestigious
then they're even looking for more.
What's up?
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, all three of us.
Yeah, what were you saying, Juan?
I said they're pretty much a less effective and less prestigious version of the UN.
Ouch. True, totally true.
But what the EU is doing, like they're even going for more right now. I believe they were actually going after the Czech Republic, Hungary, and Poland for not accepting their fair share of economic migrants.
Yes.
And if they didn't do it, they're going to get sanctions and held under like foreign rule essentially. And that's actually why. But like that's why Austria has actually threatened to put armed guards at the border of Italy, is because they can't handle the amount of migrants coming in. And now that they're starting to shut down a lot of the access to Italy, what did they do? They started going through Spain, which inevitably led to the 2 or 3 terrorist attacks that just happened in Spain. So, but although I will mention one thing in the article, but because they utilize the quote from a member of the Italian, the foreign minister or something like that. The thing is that it's really hard to take anybody seriously if they work in the government anymore, because we've got people like Maxine Waters.
Yes.
like if you talk to anyone in the government, there's bound to be someone in the government that basically says like, "Oh, this is exactly what we want to say to the most horrible extent we can." So it's really hard to. But when you look at the objective point of view of the way the economic migrant crisis is affecting Europe, I think they're doomed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Europe is lost.
I'd say at least, like, me probably being the most optimistic one, I'd say most of Europe is lost.
Well, hold on. A couple of corrections here. First of all, Kyle, those weren't terrorist attacks. Those were operational malfunctions in cars. And
I thought they were cultural enrichments.
Yeah, it was a cultural enrichment gone wrong. It's been 3 days since we've had an accident. Trucks of peace.
You know how Spain has the running with the bulls. Well, he was just trying to help them, simulate it, and somebody spooked him, and he hit the gas instead of the brake. It happens. It happens.
And
all
really,
the time.
the only reason he was spooked was because the person who spooked him is an Islamophobe. He wouldn't have sped into that crowd of people if they didn't, make him.
Yeah.
If it wasn't somehow the white people's fault.
Oh, yeah, it was white people's fault for sure. That's their new way of saying white people. It's spelled WYWIPO. It's something like that. It's ridiculous.
And what are you, Stewie Griffin? It's a white people.
Quite right. All right, Jared Taylor. So the second correction is Europe isn't lost. They just need Zoe Quinn and Anita Sarkeesian to talk at their council. That will greatly increase their chances to succeed.
They really just need to go up.
Kill yourself.
Really, we just need Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn and Randy Harper and others, Johnathan McIntosh, to take their message of peace and take it directly to places where it's needed, like Saudi Arabia, or directly to ISIS. Go to Syria and be like, hey, you guys need to treat your women and children better. And I just think it would work out best for everybody.
Yeah, and so on what's best for everybody, we are going toward show and tell. Now, this is a segment in which one of us shows the others something that's dear to his heart and hopes that they will enjoy the same thing as he enjoys and bring them closer together. All right, so I'll just play a bit of it, and like 10 seconds. And it's by Matthew Deere. He just released this a couple months ago. Oh, yeah. So I'm not sure if you guys can hear it on your end. There we go. And so yeah, what did you guys think? Because I sent you the link earlier, I think yesterday. So
well, I don't like anything, so
Oh, that's a good start.
Yeah. I remember when you sent it to me, I told you I don't like anything, and you're like, no, listen to it, and I said, I don't like anything. Hint, hint. And you're like, just listen to it. So I listened to it. I like other things now. Now that I've heard that, I like other things because that was how bad it was. So, at least you succeeded at something. You did some good in the universe.
As for my input, you know how last time I showed you that looping 6-second audio from the bootleg Super Famicom game Hong Kong 97?
That's very specific, yes.
Yeah, I still like that more.
Oh, God. What about you, Kyle? Surely not all three of you can hate this.
I feel that having dirty, rough sex behind a dumpster with Ted Cruz would be more enjoyable to listen to.
Whoa. Oh, my God.
Why
are you guys so specific? Why are you so specific?
No, we need to make that happen. Record and put on SoundCloud. I will listen to that on my drive to work.
That was atrocious to every degree thought possible. Dead serious. Like, this is Donald Trump and Ted Cruz making love kind of noise quality.
Oh my God.
With Ben Carson munching popcorn in the background.
wait, hold on.
Done yourself, Isaac.
Why Ben Carson munching popcorn? I just have to ask.
Because if you don't include a black guy, you're racist.
Yep.
Oh, but why isn't he participating? Why is he only watching?
Because he's a good Christian man that can deflect knife attacks with a belt buckle. This is such a stupid line of inquiry. This is obvious, Isaac. Jeez.
Well, you guys are some hateful fucks.
Yeah.
So
us being hateful, you just made us listen to something that made me really contemplate drinking an entire gallon of bleach in one sitting.
I'm never showing any of you anything again. I want to just end now.
But you said that last week, man, and here you are still thinking you can please us with any of your garbage.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? Okay. So we're gonna move on to pipe dreams. Whatever. We're gonna move on to pipe dreams. Okay, so this is a segment where one of us has an idea, however asinine, in which we pitch to the others, and we try to see how this might actually work in reality. So I would like to make a Netflix original series called Jesus of LA, and this is where Jesus is basically, he has that Lazarus thing or whatever. And he just mysteriously knows English. He wakes up in LA and he's really rusty on all of his miracles, he tries to make water into wine, but it's just cheap beer and just other things like that. Or if he walks on water, he's just kind of sinking in the whole time. Now because Netflix had the Leather show or the Leather special by Amy Schumer, I think their standards are low enough to make this happen. So like, who do we cast? You know, how do we move on from step one?
Okay, I got this. So first, he needs to be a man named Jesus, but he's white. And his roommate, his name is Jesus. And he is... No, wait, I have that backwards. Okay, the guy who's white is going to be Jesus. The guy who's Mexican is Jesus. And they're both... One of them's the Antichrist, one of them's the real Christ. And they don't know which one.
How do they not know?
Well, now.
That's a plot right there.
That is an interesting plot.
All right, so what kind of a theme are we going for here? Like
workaholics.
Like what kind of workaholics?
Yeah, it's gonna be like workaholics, where there's a bunch of cringe stuff, and they're both like really childish young adults. I can clearly see it in my mind.
Like what we also need is like any miracles they attempt have to be like catered to their demographics. So like if it's like Jesus, like he tries to turn water into wine, but it turns into like Corona or something like that. and then like whoever the white guy is, instead have it be like Bailey's or something like that.
I know. I think it needs to be the knockoff of Bailey's. Have you seen that one? The one that comes in like the huge fucking...
Wait a minute. There is a knockoff of Bailey's.
Yeah, there's a knockoff of Bailey's. It's like a fourth of the price. For anybody that wants to get their girlfriend's really drunk, really cheap, I forget what it's called, but I think it's just Irish cream, and it's got like this redheaded lady on it.
Oh my!
And it's
gosh.
like $14, where it should be like 40.
Oh.
So tastes just like it.
And of course, when the girlfriend is drunk, that you agree that she has, actually consented.
Yeah.
Thank you, Isaac, for telling everyone in the audience to rape their girlfriend.
No. Affirmative consent.
You can't rape property.
No, but seriously, you know that Netflix has a documentary of like, look who's back. It's as if Hitler actually came back.
Yes.
Yeah. So it'd be just like that. I think that where's his career going anymore? Let's just get Jim Caviezel, the guy who played Jesus in
Passion of the Christ.
Oh, where's his career going? Just like get him.
Well, he got struck by lightning 3 times making that Jesus movie. I think he decided movies weren't for him.
Wait, did he really get struck by lightning 3 times?
I heard it 3 times.
Well, it's funny because like
that has the charm, you know.
That's true. No, but it's funny. Like I've had this like really morbid interest in like the science behind like crucifixion and all that, and something like that. So I researched like the behind the scenes of like Jim Caviezel, and like, dude, the guy actually had to have heart surgery because of all the physical and emotional stress. Cause they filmed this like out in like Morocco or something like that, and it was like freezing cold of winter. So that sort of blue discoloration he has up there is like actually legit. So yeah, but I didn't know he got struck by lightning like 3 times.
It might have only been once.
Yeah, he got struck by lightning.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I know he got struck by lightning, and I know that like all the crap that he had to go through in the filming of all that stuff. But like, if you get Jim Caviezel, and then all you have to do to make anything successful on Netflix is star Ruby Rose. Like every single girl, like every single girl is bi. Like women are just like spaghetti. They're straight until they get wet.
Yes.
So,
I was gonna say Orange is the New Black Logic.
Exactly. Just like no matter what, just put Ruby Rose in it. It'll be an instant success. Everything else is secondary. It doesn't even matter. Just get Ruby Rose.
I was hoping we could get like Louis C.K. to play the Jesus role.
Oh.
Because he would be like
that would be awesome.
People would be like, you're kind of fat for Jesus, don't you? Thinking like you're balding. He's like, I've been asleep for like 2,000 years. You know, like I had to eat a lot before I hibernated.
Dude, did you ever read Johnny the Homicidal Maniac?
Oh,
no,
I did.
Dude,
good stuff.
Oh yes, Wild Smile, hell yeah. So like there's an entire segment where Johnny commits suicide and he goes up to heaven. He just sees like heaven is littered with a whole bunch of garbage, and he's like, man, I thought heaven would be a lot nicer. It's like, listen, we have a lot more things to worry about than just the aesthetic appearance of heaven. All right, that's exactly how I see Louis C.K. doing that shit. He's like, yeah, well, I don't really care. I can turn water into wine. It doesn't matter if I'm fat. I saved your sins. Shut the hell up.
Yeah, and they're like, but now it's just cheap beer. He's like, oh, excuse me. You know, what can you do? Huh?
It's like, did you ever try the wine back then? It was terrible. Like Yingling's is so much better. Like, have you ever had a White Russian? It's amazing.
I
love
like
my
this.
Russians.
I'm aiming for 2 stars. Or wait, is it thumbs up now? Thumbs up, thumbs down?
I don't know about the Netflix rating system.
God damn it, Amy Schumer.
Amy Schumer, dude. Amy Schumer is the reason it went to thumbs up because she had like less than 1 star.
Yep.
Rightfully so.
Okay, well, we're aiming for at least a 30% ratio on thumbs up, thumbs down.
Aiming low,
We'll develop this idea. We're gonna aim high. Well, high for Amy Schumer. So like we don't have to be the best. We just have to be better than the worst.
That's true.
So,
well, if you cast Amy Schumer in the actual show, even if it's a failure, you can always just fall back on the whole they're just sexist because they didn't watch.
Sexism
I was
card.
trolled
yeah,
by the alt-right.
I was thinking you were gonna say.
There we go. There we go.
Or we could fall back
How
on
dare
like
you.
it was Amy's fault.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, yeah, she's terrible regardless.
Yeah, so she would play like the sacrilege Virgin Mary figure, I guess.
Amy Schumer is the physical embodiment of what you showed us earlier.
God. You know what? Let's just move on from all of this. Jesus Christ. So we're going on to shitty people in history. Now, this can be anybody from like Pol Pot to I don't know,
Gandhi.
Bernie Sanders, or yeah, and just any overall shitty things that they've done, and just kind of smear them through there. Now, somebody who's kind of an esoteric figure, even in his own time, is Ron L. Hubbard, the creator of Scientology. Now, for anybody not familiar with him, he was like a science fiction writer, and then he turned that into a religion, and it's just been like kind of cultish ever since. And he was like a boy lover. He used to invite little boys onto his boat.
Move over, Michael Jackson.
Yeah, so I think NAMBLA would have really loved him, but maybe he started NAMBLA. So yeah, he's honestly probably the newest major religious figure, because I mean he's already dead, but Islam is what, already like 1,400 years old, and his religion is less than 100. So I mean, props to him. I think he's fucking insane, but props to him for doing that and convincing people they needed to get their therons calibrated or some shit. That's
no idea, man. I've heard of Scientology. I know it's some sort of like Hollywood-esque mysticism, but I have no idea what the hell it's about.
Yeah, so I watched a documentary recently on Scientology, and the new leader, just like Ron L. Hubbard, went into hiding, and he like doesn't do public appearances anymore. He's only done one ever, and like he's buddy with Tom Cruise, and yeah, it's like they basically get people to pay an exorbitant amount of money to like move up in levels in the church, and then you get to like a certain level, and by that point you've already paid like $1 million into the church.
Oh gosh.
Like I don't think that's much of an exaggeration. It might be like $500,000 or something, but
this sounds awfully reminiscent of the really old Catholic Church and paying indulgences for your soul. The fact that you used to be able to buy salvation with physical, dirty human money.
This is how you get out of limbo, man. You just pay.
yeah. This like $100. I think it was like 50 years off of what was it called? Purgatory. Mm-hmm. And these guys, it's like if you want to get to level like 63, you have to pay another $20,000 for this training and that training, and they're basically like really radical acting classes.
This sounds reminiscent of like an RPG, of like a free to play RPG where like the in-game currency is useless, so you have to like buy like the real money currency just to get anything that you want.
Dude, the weird thing is, like, I was when I was in the Marine Corps, I was stationed over in Washington D.C. and actually got their e-reader done on me. So,
really?
Yeah, dead serious. Like, I was trying to we're trying to measure how many thetans were on me.
Thetans.
Yeah, it's THETAN. But how many thetans were attached to me, and it was absolutely hilarious because I figured it out because anybody with half a brain can figure out how this damn machine works. It's a pressure sensitive. All it is pressure sensitive cuffs, and so they basically have you squeeze these things, and they're like, okay, think of the most horribly depressing thing that ever happened to your life. And so I don't know if it's the Marine Corps, but I just don't flinch or clench my muscles whenever I think of bad things that have happened in my life. So I was like, my dad killed himself when I was 15.
Oh, shit.
Oh my gosh.
And then I'm like, okay, go ahead. And he's like, well, okay, now you just think of how visceral reaction you had. It's like, well, I discovered my dad had killed himself. And he's like, okay, well, here, the machine's not reading this. And I was like, and he like touches it, and suddenly like the needle starts jumping up and down, saying like, oh, well, see that? It's like, whoa, that's not how you do science.
Yeah.
Science is like, it's like science, like I should be the variable, not the piece of machinery. That should be the constant. And he's like, oh, well, no. Okay, now go ahead and think about it. I'm like, okay, my dad killed himself when I was 15. It's like, all right, well, look at this. Look at how the needle is just standing still. I'm like, that means that there's nothing attached to me. He's like, yeah, exactly. But they are. I think you're full of shit, sir. So like everything they do is just absolutely nonsensical. But they have these people like absolutely believing in this stuff. And it turns out that they wanted to actually elevate me to like higher than level, like the very, very lowest level, because apparently I didn't have any thetans on me or something like that. I could be a chosen one.
Chosen one.
Yeah, I was like, dude, get the hell away from me, you fucking weirdo. But yeah, it's although L. Ron Hubbard, like, he's actually a weird guy if you actually study him. Have you ever like looked in depth to him?
No, I just know his I guess his world record for most published works. That's about the extent of it.
Like he lied about his military service. Like he's like he used to say that he used to bomb Japanese submarines in like World War II, and he was some kind of naval hero. He used to say like BS stories about he met some Native American guy. God, what I think it was like something about like old Tom Mad Feather, something like that.
I don't know.
What a great name.
That could like leap like 15 feet in the air and then levitate. Like all the shit that I'm dead serious, man. Like everything that he ever said was just absolutely nonsensical. Like I wonder if he was like high his entire life and just spouted BS and had some asshole writing it down.
It's probably not too far from the truth, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, God damn, what a guy.
Smoked peyote his whole life, and like freaking had some poor little scrub writing down his account.
Yeah,
with the deal that he was going to pay for his college.
I bet you that dude's like, "Are you sure you want me to write that one down?" He's like, "Yes, come on." And he's like, "All right." I mean, fuck, dude. He's like, "Read it back to me." And he's like reading it back. He's like, "That sounds fucking ridiculous. I didn't say that." He's like, "Yeah, you did, man." And he's like, no, rewrite it this way. And he's like, "That sounds even crazier, dude. Come on."
Just say it more, just say it more like theatrically. Oh, okay. Well, here, the aliens were stuffed into golden 747s and flown into volcanoes. That's seriously the actual principle of Scientology, though. Just FYI. It's like, oh yeah, that sounds totally legit, real.
I would sooner believe that the globalists are putting chemicals in the water that turn the frogs gay.
Well, turning them into hermaphrodites, actually.
Yeah, it turned them trans. It actually turned them trans, like hermaphrodites. That is more credible than everything I've just heard. That should tell you something.
I want to know what Tom Cruise's reaction was when he was told the ultimate truth of Scientology and he's wasted all this money.
I don't know, dude.
I would seriously give up my left nut to be able to see that reaction. I was like, yes, please let me watch him cry. Oh God, yes.
Yeah, I think Alex Jones should create a competing religion. I would follow that shit.
He would be a great like priest, or what are they? The guys that give the sermons every Sunday for church.
Yeah, a preacher.
Preacher, thank you. He would be a fantastic preacher. I would go to church. I would go. Like
I would go to see him. Hell yeah, that'd be awesome.
Church of turning the frogs gay. Like I would fucking yes, dude. I would dedicate my life to that shit.
It's like their deity is just like a fucking bullfrog with a dick and a vagina.
No. What he needs to do to be like the ultimate troll, he needs to bring back the Egyptian god Kank, like the actual statue. But like add on the appendages, like the frog and it's got those symbols beneath it.
Wait, but instead of a crucifix or something, it would be a fidget spinner. That'd be your fucking thing.
So we are finding a religion at this point. I believe this is called Kekism.
Kekism. But he needs to bring like his own unique, one of a kind Alex Jones flavor to Kekism. Like if he were to like start his own thing, like based on Kekism, like take all that, but like add on his whole gay frogs thing and evil globalists.
The interdimensional child rapists, everyone.
Definitely. I mean, if he ever does that, I swear to you, I will probably disappear into that church or cult or whatever it's going to be.
Like, dude, I'll totally drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I'm down, dude.
Right in the space comet behind Jesus after drinking eating the applesauce. Absolutely.
Yeah. Jesus, take the wheel. So
demon straight from hell.
So we are just about out of material. So I would like to thank both of you for joining us on the inaugural episode of 3/5 News, and would like to reiterate, if there were an auction right now, I'll let you fill in the rest of the blanks. But thank you so much, Wild Smile and Kyle Brassard, aka the Virtuous Skinhead, for joining us tonight. And have a great day. And do you guys have any final words?
God, please let Alex Jones do this.
Well,
actually, if we are going to create a deity, let's actually just crucify Amy Schumer.
Oh no!
I don't know that we can lift her hands above her shoulder horizontally. I don't know if it's possible.
It's like nailing her hand to the cross. It's like, sir, I can't do it. It's like hitting a beluga whale with an axe. It just doesn't hit. There's just too much fat in the way.
Holy shit. Yeah, Wild Smile, do you have any final words?
Not really. Can you guys hear the soundboard at all on your end?
Nah.
Okay, no. Because I was hitting a few things for a while. Never mind then. No, I don't really got much to say. I could rip on Amy Schumer for another hour, but I think we're about an hour and a half in. We probably had our licks, but it was fun. Thanks for having me on, and you guys feel free to hit me up on Twitter at Wild Smiled, as some jackoff already took my name, and. And yeah, if you guys, I think, at least I believe both of you guys are familiar with my channel, and probably most people who are going to watch this on my channel are familiar with me as well. Yeah. So it's pointless to promote me, but feel free to promote yourselves. What do you?
Yeah, you can find me at Isaac Victor Yeppy. The Z didn't fit in the Twitter handle. God damn it.
Yeah, and you'll find this on our channel. Chances are you are watching it on our channel. Border Bros, formerly Border Bros Productions. Like, the Productions was pretentious, so we removed it. And my final that was my hey. The Productions was my idea.
And you can find me at Virtuous Skinhead on Twitter, as well as you can always throw me an invite on Facebook, as well as my name on YouTube, Kyle Brassard, Kyle, B as in Bravo, ROUSSARD. And just may I add, the whole Border Bros, it just makes me think of Bang Bros. It sounds like you're a porn company.
It does.
Right? That's what I thought.
See, I was here waiting for you guys to do a show for me because, because Isaac is so attractive, and I was all excited, but no.
Does this mean that you swing for the other team as well?
No, some people just like to watch man-slamming, okay?
So hold on, let me get this straight. You're not.
I was turned on when I came onto the channel, and then we started talking Amy Schumer, and it was just.
Yeah, my dick went inside me.
Dick flop. Yeah, just like retreated in like a snail's eyes.
Right. I won't need to get gender reassignment surgery because the effect from looking at Amy Schumer is exactly the same.
Holy shit. All right, I'm going to end this now. The broadcast, at least, before we get in more trouble than... Oh, God. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun, definitely. Saturday, I'm still waiting on word from Ape if he's going to join. And then a bit of Brit and SDA are going to join on Sunday. So there's going to be guests like every week, I think. So, yeah.
Right on.
Awesome. You should definitely try to get out to Roaming Millennium, too.
Oh yeah, well, I mean,
dude, she's been coming up in the world. Like she's been interviewed by like everyone now. It's insane.
Well, I mean, I'll probably text her and see.
Well, Wild Smile, didn't you get who did you get interviewed by? Who was that one?
I'm not sure.
You don't know the people who interviewed you?
I talked to you two guys. I believe that was it.
Yeah, I actually think that's who it was. I was actually thinking about it was University of Texas El Paso, because I was thinking about them. It's weird because you guys have had some pretty high profile people on your channel, and when I saw Wild Smile, I'm like, holy shit, why in the hell they put me on the same fucking level as these guys?
To be fair though, the brainchild behind a majority of what the CRs do goes to Isaac. So I mean, Isaac's the most dedicated one in the group here. I'm really just secondary,
and also the most hated.
Yes, yes, I would argue you're probably the most hated among the group.
Yeah.
Well, you're darker than him, so it's natural that you just suck off the accomplishments of the whiter guy.
Yeah. That was good.
It's always better to be hated than ignored. Somebody's indifference is far worse than their discontent.
Oh yeah.
If, as the old saying goes, if you can't be loved, be feared.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna start debunking a bunch of academics because I'm getting the vibe from UTEP that they're not gonna help me get published with anything. So yeah, all my academic work is pretty much gonna go on YouTube from now on.
What's your specialty again?
English. It's actually American literature, but in my spare time, I do political science and multiculturalism.
You know, according to Ben Shapiro, you're just helping the homosexual agenda.
Yeah, and I enjoy it. I mean, they do have the best parades, the best costumes, and
what the hell kind of parades are you looking at, man? Like, that is a big thing of debauchery. It's like,
debauchery and degeneracy.
As I said before, I'm ready for it.
All you do is come up there with like a fucking anus spreader ready to go. It's like, hey guys.
See, I want to see the really hardcore S&M folks come out and do their version of a parade where instead of the gay guys and assless chaps on leashes on their hands and knees, it's a bunch of women with some big, huge guy like carrying them on a leash. And then we'd really get a sense of, oh, this is what it looks like. I mean, when it's gay people, we can kind of feel good about it. But when it's regular straight people, we're going to be hit really hard with, oh, there's nothing pretty about this at all. This is just kind of depraved.
Okay, so we could start like the second Frankfurt school. It'll be like just the Frank school, and we just ruin other movements by infiltrating them, and showing them how awful they are.
Infiltrating them with gay degeneracy. That has to be the catch.
Straight degeneracy to make gay degeneracy look worse.
Never mind, straight degeneracy.
By the way, you guys got to see this. Check this out. I just screen shared. Where'd it go? There it is. Look what Steven Crowder just put up.
Oh, also, the Steven Crowder, didn't he bail on...
He totally did, man.
I didn't even hear about it.
Supposedly, I've heard multiple things about it. The person who was debating him came out and said, hey, maybe this was just a scheduling error. He never got back to me, so don't assume that he cowered out just yet. But initially, that was how I took it, was that he just no-showed. After the moderator was there and they were ready, and he was there, and they waited for, I think, 2 or 3 hours for him. So
I didn't hear a single thing about this.
Yeah,
it's funny. Like I heard about this through like Isaac's Twitter, and I'm just like, what? Since when is Steven Crowder like not?
My Twitter's woke.
Yeah.
What's up? I'm not sure if you guys know. There's my girlfriend right there.
You have a girlfriend? Why would you put up with him?
She can't hear you. Joke's on you. So.
You know, that really blurry image, was incredibly, she was kind of hot, I'll admit.
A bit pixelated.
It was a little pixelated, and I couldn't actually make out any definition of her.
Not at all.
But the fact that you have a female who is willing to put up with you, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's more because I'm manipulative and sociopathic. But I could also be charming in some sense. I'm not sure.
Yes, you have a certain charm to you that I see.
Who's this pixelated figure?
Well, you remember you met Amanda, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
I don't think we have.
I think you mentioned her.
So, like, I'm one of those horrible, like, heathens. So I'm a polyamorous guy, and I actually have more than one girlfriend.
What?
Yeah. So this is one of them. This is Aurora.
Hello.
And the other one's name is she's a Hawaiian girl named Amanda. So I have more than one girlfriend, and I know that it's horrible. I'm a horrible monster, but that's what atheists do. We date more than one woman at a time, and we eat babies.
I'm a POC. Just so you know, that means person of color. with a K, POC. Yeah.
It's kind of like the whole "we was Kangs" thing.
Yeah, yes. It's because they hate it when I say POC at UTEP, so I just say it, and they're like POC. I'm like, no, I'm a POC.
No, I'm a POC.
Yeah, I'm. So yeah, that. I forgot what we were talking about.
By the way, SDA has actually started using POC in her streams. So like, keep it trending. If you're ever talking about quote unquote people of color, just call them POCs.
Yeah, POC. Yeah, I really forgot what the fuck we were talking about. God damn it.
I dicked up my headphones.
We were pretty much concluding the discussion, I believe.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Someone remembers.
Well, I didn't want to be here forever. Yeah, you guys are cool, but you're not that cool.
No,
yeah, that's too important for people like us.
I appreciate it. So Brittany just sent me a message saying that she probably won't be able to on Sunday, so I'm going to reschedule with her. Would either of you be willing to join?
What day?
Not sure yet. She just said we'll have to reschedule on Sunday, so I'll probably bring in somebody else with the SDA stream, and then with Brittany, I'm not sure who yet.
What's and this is the 3 Fives News podcast, right?
Yeah.
That you wanted to reschedule for?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's on Saturday, I can probably do it, unless Wild Smile wants to do it.
I'm not entirely. I have work that day, so if it's on Sunday, I actually have a 5-day weekend because I decided I finally needed some time off work. And
cool.
Ooh, I can't wait. So I'm probably available from Sunday all the way through Thursday next week. So if you happen to do something like that, hit me up. I might be able to make time for it.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool. Yeah, I can pretty much almost any day. I can normally take an hour or so out of my schedule and talk to you guys because it's always entertaining.
All right, I will hit you guys up on Twitter.
Right on.
Sounds good, man.
Well, it was nice talking to you guys, and I'm gonna go ahead and end the recording. So you all have a nice night. I'll see you later.
Have a good night.
All right, have a good night.